I'll actually glance on the next one in before I even look at this one. And often I'll see her running around on that next one, but if I don't, then I'll glance on this side where I haven't looked at yet. But then I'll start looking at for a little bit while longer and look in a spiral pattern from the outside edge and work my way in. So this originally was all capped honey, but they're starting to liquefy it a little bit. We're starting to uncap it because we spaced these out quite a bit. You see they're making a little bit of new comb right there. Alright, we're not going to need that.
Wait, so why would they uncap it to liquefy it?
Maybe to eat it.
Just to eat it?
See what we did with the beginners when they were here, we dropped some empty bars in between. I don't know if that's going to actually hang there or not, but I'm not going to try to lift it in. But dropping this empty bar in between two of these drawn combs, they don't have
And
much
that was
choice
just
but
done
to keep it
yesterday,
straight.
that?
Oh, 3 days ago.
3 days ago.
They didn't keep it straight.
It's true, yeah.
So you know there's no clean on that?
No, I have no idea.
Sam, what do you have for comb guides today?
I got popsicle sticks. Like so.
Skinny ones?
Yeah, and they tend to stray. You know, I had to cut 5,000 top bars last year. I had to eat 20,000 popsicles. People ask me, like, what are the dimensions of my box? I have no idea. It's 4 popsicle sticks wide. You know, it's a little 1/8 inch of play.
You like grape popsicles?
It was available. It's a full-time job. Eating pop So this is they've done since they've been here. I think 3 days ago we spaced these out and dropped them right in between. I don't see any eggs in it yet.
Are they using the honey that's in there to draw that comb?
Pretty much. I mean, there's a little bit of pollen coming in. They've gotten fragile though. Slide down, touch on the edges and slide down. Any bees that are on the sides of the bars all get pushed down. And I'll keep these, you know, tight together as I'm working it, so it's not a huge mess with all the bars sprayed out. So we're going to try to get it back together. Honey storage comb towards the back.
What do you mean honey storage comb towards the back?
See how big that is?
Oh, huge. Attachment point.
The cell
Oh, the
side.
cell side.
So I get a little bit of side attachment sometimes, especially with heavier combs, but I don't even have to cut them most of the time. I don't particularly worry about it.
If they're attachable enough to the bar, they'll just break off.
So I've been doing a lot more packages than nukes to, especially for selling bees to customers, because I can do them a little bit earlier, a little bit cheaper, and it's a lot closer to following bee biology, you know, rather than busting all my hives into smaller nukes and, you know, kind of demoralizing them, having them to reset and, well, that's the problem, is they don't really reset. They just, you know, it's like shrink and making a little baby hive. They have to recuperate all summer long. Whereas a swarm of bees, like rather than dividing up the body of this hive, I'll just shake the queen and 3 pounds of bees out of there and simulate a swarm and let them recuperate that way. They don't have to draw so much wax. You know, even if they raise their own queen, they're able to, you know, not use those resources to make so much wax. If I pulled 5 combs out of here and let them redraw those 5 combs during our main flow, they are going to use all their resources to make wax where they could be storing honey. But, you know, and the swarms, like, they go broodless, you know. When you shake a package in, they shrink for 3 weeks, but then they come on really fast, and I think they're cleaner going into fall than like just taking brood out of there and never letting that broodless cycle happen. But I still do a little bit of everything. Certainly.
How do they go broodless if you've shook the queen also?
If I'm removing the queen out of here and we're going to put her in this box, they'll be just like a swarm, you know, having an out-of-body experience. Not just like a swarm, but the closest thing I can make to a swarm. And so when they're installed, they'll be broodless. We'll install them into something this afternoon. And letting these raise their own queen or even drop it in the cell, they'll have also the broodless cycle. So we're really simulating what we can do. So it's my package funnel. I made this in about a minute. This is about harvestable. There's a couple little cells of brood and there's cells of nectar. And often I let my top bars grow to full length, and that can take a year or 2. Often it depends on the weather or what we get in the Northeast here, which is often unpredictable. But I'll let them cap this whole thing, or you know, if they're really full and they need room, I'll harvest this comb, but I'll have a nectar bucket and a honey bucket, and the capped honey will go in the honey bucket. That nectar bucket will be made into mead.
What would you say, roughly, Sam, if you were to harvest that for honey, and how much nectar would you tolerate in the honey mix?
I do all capped honey, you know.
You don't take it?
Yeah, because even getting all capped honey, you don't know, it's so humid, you know. Honey's hygroscopic. All the time it's sucking the moisture out of the air, and I just want to be careful about it. Our nectar in the Northeast here, it's a damper environment usually, and you just want to be careful. It's not like the desert. Yeah, and the only problem with that is exploding honey jars. You know, it's still totally edible and fine. All honey's a little bit fermented.
Now the difference here between real swarm is that they're not engorged with honey.
Well, we gave them a little bit of smoke and, you know, letting them do their thing.
Oh, that would induce them to take some honey.
Right. Ideally, you're doing this at like the start of your main flow during swarm season and stuff. This one I'm probably not going to shake. It's brand new in the last couple of days. I want to leave at least probably 3 or 4 combs covered with bees in here, just to keep the brood heated and stuff. And I'm actually planning on boosting this with some brood in just a second, so we'll see how that goes.
So we're making a 3 or
I think it just keeps the hive incredibly healthy because the mites are all drawn to the drone brood. They pupate. It takes a couple extra days, and the pheromones that are in the drone brood really lure the mites to it. So having this drone brood right in the middle of the hive, this is where it gets the constant monitoring and traffic from the young nurse bees, the ones that are hygienic, that will be pulling out anything that's infected. So this is luring the mites away from any of the worker brood. And you know, since it's being constantly monitored, that's what gets called out and starts looking spotty. Whereas, you know, the worker brood can stay pretty clean. So
is that queen cell cabinet? Yeah. Is that a queen cell? Right in the middle.
That's just a cup.
Okay.
Yeah. See a lot of those. So I mean, people will trap the drones. You know, they'll put in drone comb and keep taking it out because that's where most of the mites are. They'll freeze it and then give it back to the bees. Whereas, I mean, if you're doing that constantly, you're raising mites that are successfully reproducing on worker brood. You're leaving the mites in there that are reproducing on the worker brood, and so and mites change very quickly. You know, they mutate about every 2 weeks. They're always inbreeding every 2 weeks, so anything you do to fight them is going to just make them stronger. But
one, is it safe to assume that, you know, when they feel that they're done making drones, they'll just start filling those with nectar?
Huh? Yeah, sure. They'll backfill everything as they see fit.
Did you already pull the queen from that?
Yeah, I got her in the cage. Right there. So I'm gonna leave probably these front 3, and give these a little bit boost from another hive if I feel I want to make an actual 3-pound package.
Sam, is the queen in the box already?
Yeah, the queen's in the cage right down there.
Oh, down still.
So I'm gonna leave these cover bees, and there certainly are some field bees that are out there that are gonna cover, but especially in the spring on the upswing, you know, a lot of this brood is emerging. Like right here, you know, so the bees are hatching out. They're emerging. An egg hatches, a brood emerges. You know. So I know that this frame, since this brood does look a little spotty, she's already laid back on top of it, but a lot of these bees are emerging right now.
She's laid back on top of it.
Well, there's larvae and eggs as these bees are hatching out. I want them to have to make a 3-pound package, you want about a thumb's width underneath that bar, like that. So that's how I know, and just by volume. And of course, these are smaller bees, so you get more bees per pound.
What would you call it? 3 pounds?
Yeah, but about if you get a thumb's worth underneath that. And I think maybe we'll take a shake or two from this copper hive and see what they're up to.
They're not flying out of it.
Nope. They crawl up around the sides, and because they hit that wall, they can't actually.
Head of these is just under 5.
Clean escape.
This is 10.5. But I go for the flat sidewalk over.
I got no problem leaving.